everybody from all across the globe. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and I'm very excited to be on a fresh episode of Intentional Parenting with you again today. Please do me a favor by going ahead and share this particular broadcast with as many people in your social circles as possible, and also send out the link if you're joining me live on YouTube or you're also joining me on Facebook. I am passionate about your children growing up well, not to be brainwashed, but for them to become the leaders of tomorrow. I will be right back. All right, welcome everybody. I'm very excited I am today to be joining you on the fresh episode of Intentional Parenting. The purpose of intentional parenting is not so to take more of your time, but also for us to be able to know that what we have suffered as children, our children must not suffer the same thing. And the way we have been wired and doctored and indoctrinated and messed up and damaged, our children do not have to go through the same order of life. They need to look back and say, our parents parented us well with great intention and they meant well for us. So today, I'm going to be treating a topic that borders around effective communication in your home between you and your children and between your children and you. But today, I'm going to be passing it from the children to the parents. Next week, we are going to be passing it from the parent to the children. So let's start with the children first. You know I am. I'm very sentimental when it comes to the children. For me, the children comes first, but you are also very important. So I'm saying today that watch. They are passing a message across to you. Watch. They are passing a message across to you. You see, most times we parents we neglect the very many signs that these children are trying to pass across to us because either we are too busy or we don't even know what it takes to have effective communication with these children. We are too boxed up in the corner or in the coven of saying, I am your parent, you must respect me. I am the mother here, you are the father here. This is your father, you are the children here. That we don't get to understand or even listen for a second when these children are passing a very important message to us. And you must understand that children are learning from us. So the filler they get from the heat we give to them form the hypothesis of their life, and they begin to either say, okay, can I talk to my parent about any and every issue, or should I keep this to myself? Don't you ever forget that there are many competitors in the life of your children. I don't care if they are male or female. There are so many people fighting and lobbying and wanting to grab their attention. Their friend want them to be idolized. Their uncles are there wanting to be the favorite uncle. They also have siblings who want to be seen as the Lord of their life. They have teachers who want a good recommendation from your children. Your children also have pastors or imam or religious leader who want to pose as the best to them. Your children have neighbors whose father is treating them in a certain way, or a certain man out there, a woman out there, who in the indoor, they don't treat their children better, but they want your children to feel as if you are treating them less. And the baba pata pata of them all is the internet. Internet is fighting and lobbying for the attention and the respect of your children every single now and then. So you must know that as parents, It is not enough for you to say, okay, I've given back to you, you should train yourself. No, you are into a competition. You see, it's a different competition for you to toast your mother, to woo their father, or to get married. It is another competition when you begin to have children, because there is only one Lord and Savior that is physical, that God wants to be present in the life of your children, and that is you. You must be their goddess and you must be their mini God. Whatever it is that they want to know about God, they must first start knowing you, knowing it from you. So these children are looking for the best idol, the best hero, the best person to look up to, the best mentor. And in so doing, they don't look for it in terms of what they hear from you, they look for it in terms of what they have seen you do. And by this, you don't tell them that my child, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me about what you're going through. No, children don't come to us to talk to us that way. They know that this is the way we speak to them. Now, I was telling a very good friend of mine the other day that my mother never told me that, come talk to me about your girlfriends or talk to me about what you're going through. No, she taught us to open up by opening us to us first. You see, what you want children to do, you must learn to be able to do it to them. Let it be a culture in your home. Let the communication, effective communication, be the culture that your children learn from home. So this is the way my mother do it. I'm sorry I always talk about that woman, but she has done a lot, and that's why I'm here talking about intentional parenting. So oftentimes my mother will leave home to go to party or meeting and something like that, and we don't beg for her to give us updates of what happened outside before she begins to tell us. The immediately she comes, it is our obligation and our own right to hear what happened to you, even as a little child. Sometimes we don't even want to hear all these things, but she felt it is your duty. You must know what is happening to me. You must know who I met today. You must know who my friends are. You must know what they do. You must know their behaviors. So she constantly trained us from little to know this, and we watch that. Okay, we feel that this is the best way of life. We began to know that you must be open to your parents because we saw our parents being open to us. So, how much of your movement does your children know? You see, communication and openness between you and your child does not start when you begin to say, come, come, talk to me. What are you going through? It starts from you telling them what you are going through also. And the very best mistake you ever make in your life is to think that these children don't understand, or to ever think that they don't have a good advice to give to you. Sometimes the advice you are looking for from your friends is in the mind and the mouth of your child. They have a way of just bringing wisdom to the table, but in a childish way. So it is not left for you to now decipher, okay, this child is trying to pass a message across, but in this manner. See, most times your child is trying to tell you a thing that he or she is going through, but because you are too busy and you are too egocentric and you think, no, I am at the place of the mother and at the place of the father, I don't want to listen to you. A child that is cheerful and very jovial before, a child that is obedient and very, very, very simple before, suddenly begin to react anyhow. This child begin to behave anyhow, began to become rude. They are trying to pass a message across. See, don't see the negativity in their action first. Look for whatever may be the underlying cause of whatever it is that they're doing. Somebody is fingering your child and she is trying to pass the message across because she doesn't know the best way to do that. So she begins to misbehave at home. It is your right to now call her and say, what is wrong? You are not like this before. You know the best way to appeal to the emotion and the mumu button of your child. When my mother want to talk to me or get something out of me when I'm not really opening up on time, she begin to say, my husband, the finest and the tallest man in the world, you are a great person. You are a great man. Do you know how much I love you? She will psych me, and I know, okay, 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 okay. She's preparing an atmosphere of communication between me and her. How much time do you spend to talk to your children and get their momo button for them to be able to open up to you? Somebody has been putting the penis of your male child in his mouth or in her mouth, and this child is trying to tell you that there's something wrong. A child that was open to you before, you could batch into his bedroom, you can batch into his bedroom and all that, suddenly begin to lock up. Most times, all these things is not merely because they are not mature or being aware of their body, but because someone has been intruding in their internal privacy. So they don't even trust you anymore to be able to keep their nakedness. Some children, the way they think and look at you is the way they look at the person who is abusing them. And it should not be so. So you must know that this is a child of mine. It's a project, it's a lifetime project to have a child. Know their temperament, know the way they talk, understand the way they eat. I give these kudos to the mother. When a child is about to go down with fever or malaria, even before the child starts having fever, they know, okay, this boy is slowing down in his work. They know a child that is very agile. They know the one that is very calm. So a child that is very agile, when they are coming down with sickness, they begin to slow down. So the mother is able to know this child is slowing down. It might not be only sickness, it might be something psychological. A child that used to be very reserved before is now hyperactive. The mother is able to know, and the father should know also. It is not only the job of the mother, should know also that there's something changing about the personality of this child. Maybe someone is indoctrinating this child, or someone is tampering with my child somewhere. That's why you must be very careful about indirect parenting. We're going to be talking about that. So most times, your children will never come to you and tell you that someone abused them. They are never going to come to you and tell you that they are going through difficulty in their education. Sometimes your children become so sad and so under pressure educationally, academically, and they are not able to tell you because you are putting pressure on them, telling them, no, you must pass. When I was your age, when I was in school, I was the number one and all that. The way my father will always tell me that, oh, no, 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 if you are in second position, you are repeating that class. I'm like, second position again, sir. What is it? Do you want to kill me? And he will say, those who have taken first position, were they given birth by a virgin? Were they given birth to by a virgin? Do they have two eggs? Until my father left home for Europe. And I was cleaning his store one day. And I saw that he didn't even come out with a good grade in school. And I took it to my mother and I said, you allowed this man to mess my head up and almost ruin my life. I was plunging myself into great difficulty to catch up academically because he was always pushing me, pushing me, pushing me, pushing me. Then I come home, I'm depressed. And sometimes I will even bribe my own elder sister with my own dinner, maybe in terms of my fish or my meat, for her to teach me what they are learning in her own class that is ahead of me, just to impress my father. The pressure was too much. I was losing my mind, but he doesn't know. I was feeling depressed, but nobody knows. Depression was not something that was well defined in our society back then. But the truth of the matter is that your children, as far as the age of 4, could go through depression, especially when they don't know who to talk to or how to express themselves. So you begin to discover some anomalies and misbehavior in their reaction, and you think all is still well. And what you think about is that at least I'm putting food on the table and sheltering you and clothing you, so that should be enough. No, your food, your money, everything could be enough for you, but not for them. We have seen children of millionaires and billionaires who are going into cultism, who are going into fraternities, who are going into terrorism, not because their parents are not providing for them, but because there is more to being a father and a mother than giving a food to the table and also providing clothes of money for them to go to school. You must be involved in their life, in the whole of your wiring. You must be involved. You must ask them questions by giving answers readily by yourself also. Remember what I told you. You don't just barge into their bedroom and say, oh, come and talk to me now. My husband, talk to me now. My baby, talk to me now. What is wrong with you? You are slow. You are doing. You are this. That is for those who are lenient. Some of you parents are not lenient. Everything about your child irritates you because you want your child to measure up to your standard at all costs. And you have forgotten that you got to where you are in area of perfectionism because you learned by mistake. And you are not allowing these children to make their own mistake also. You want their life to be perfect without experience. Some of you talk down on your children and say, what is wrong with you? You look, that's the way your mother behaved. That's the way your father behaved. You torture their mindset, their psychology, using their parents, especially the one you know they love the most. And this thing breaks the children down every now and then, and they go into diverse form of depression and their self-esteem being taken away from them. But those who are not considerate, so let's say those who are considerate are even talking to these children and saying, talk to me, baby. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. I love you. You can speak to me about everything. And the children are still not talking. Now measure it to you that don't even have empathy for your children. See, it is not enough for you to be a father or a mother. You must also learn what we call communication skill, and communication skills start from empathizing with the person in that shoe. Your child might be going through peer pressure at school where some group of people are bullying him or her, or some group of people are trying to gallivant or live extravagant life because their parents are well to do. Not because you are not trying at home, but you need to also know when your children begin to look sad. Is there any other thing I can do? Ask your children for suggestion on how to better parent them. Try it. Ask them for suggestion on how to better parent them. See, the answers you are looking for by using your old school style is available, readily available in the tongue of your children if you ask them questions. But the problem of most of African parents is that they think they know it all. The problem of most African parents is to think that I know it all. This is the way my grandparents treated me. This is the way my mother raised me up. I must raise you up in the same way. The things are changing. Things are changing. There was no mobile phone in your days. There are mobile phones now. There was no internet in your days. There are internet now. There is nothing like Montessori in your days. There are Montessoris now. The curriculum that they used to train you on then is even from the one they are exposing these children up to now. The infrastructure available in your days, the noise pollution in your time cannot be compared to the one these children are going through right now. So you must also be lenient, be humble for once, and learn from these children on how to better parent them. And when they begin to misbehave in some way, don't see it as rebellion. Don't think they are trying to be rude to you. The next thing for you to reach out to is not your cane or to begin to slap them or to begin to talk them down. The next thing to do is not to tell them that what is wrong with you. Sometimes you parent even demoralize your children by using the Bible or the Quran to torment and taunt them. I remember my mother who always used the book of Proverbs to taunt me then, even though we were not yet Christians. Then she would say, "Àìgbéraga ní síwájú ìparun, ọmọ tá a bá bá wí tó ń warùn kì, ó máa parun lójijì ni." So when I try to move away, she would say, "Láìsí àtúnṣe." And I'm like, "Are you cursing me or something? What is wrong with you?" But I dare not say it like I want. Yeah, be married. They will kill me. So she's always saying that pride goes before destruction. A child that we are correcting that you would all those things. I'm like, why are you talking to me that way? I'm getting your point, but why do you have to say it in such a harsh way? But that's the best way she could. But the way I receive it makes me even more rebellious. More rebellious. So it's not everything you now be pitching your children against God with. Let me say it again. It's not everything you'll be pitching God against your children with. Not everything you'll be using religious sentiment to mess their head up. That's why we have so many children coming from a pastor's home who are the most useless today, who sleep around anyhow. And since you have been beating those children, has anything changed in their life? Has anything changed? Since you have been shouting and nagging and talking them down and taunting their memory and tormenting them, torturing them, using their parents, the other parent, to taunt them, to torture them, has anything changed? The truth of the matter is that anybody can resent you in the world and you will go scot free. The moment your children begin to resent you, you are done for because that's your retirement plan. Not in terms of finance, but someday your friends will be dead. Your family will not be around. You will be old. You have nobody to be with you. These are the children that will take care of you. These are the children that will take care of you. And I bet it with you, no matter how old they are, the way you treated them when they were little is the way they will treat you when you are also becoming a child. So you must know that what goes around comes around. Know that, okay, you are pulling them in a trolley today. You are pulling them on a chair today. They are the one you are preparing to pull you also, to push you on your own trolley and your chair tomorrow. So if you push them anyhow, they'll push you anyhow then. See, the affection we get from children is not because we are their parent. It is not automatic. Whatever you sow, you reap. The care and attention you get from your children is not something that fall on them because they read the Bible. It is something you have taught them by the way you treated them. By the way you treated them. I have a mother who called, if my mother calls me without me calling her, I first get scared. I don't want anything to touch the woman. I don't want her to be tampered with at all. So if she had treated me badly, do you think I would so much care? I don't care if Jesus is saying something and Muhammad is backing it up. Whatever you train me up to become is what I become. That's why the scripture says that teach a way in the way that he should go. Teach a child in the way that he should go. When they grow up, they will not depart from it. If you use affection, effective communication, love, care, and attention to treat them when they grow up, you won't need to suffer and lobby and beg their uncles and aunts to tell them to take care of you before they take care of you. They know you are their responsibility. They know you are their responsibility because when they were little, you fulfill your responsibility also, not only in terms of money, but because you were there affectionately, you were there compassionately, and you were there to support them in all areas of life. And you have gone beyond I am your mother and father to becoming I am your closest ally and your best friend. And your best friend. Nothing should happen to your child without you being aware. It is a disgrace when your child have a mentor outside of home. I say it again. It is a disgrace when your child takes their father in the Lord as their mentor than you. Ta ló bí ọmọ náà rí? Ta ló tiẹ̀ bí màmá ẹ̀ rí? That my child will now take another man as the mentor, spiritual mentor, physical mentor, social mentor, educational mentor. Why am I making myself available to be pruned? Why am I building capacity in myself? I got it to the extreme to the point of the bedtime stories my children are going to read when they are coming. I have written it. I have written it. I want them to see life the way it is. I want to broaden their horizon. But I don't want my children to listen to the lies and the perfect life of Cinderella story. I don't want my children to think that life is that rosy, that somebody will now be fidgeting. A lady will not be able to build capacity in herself. We die in one castle, waiting for one prince to come and raise her up with a kiss. So I have to program my own child, sexualize them already, my own daughters, sexualize my daughters already to think that without the intervention of one man's kiss and one man's touch, they cannot rise up above situation. God forbid, not when I'm alive. So I wrote them the real life story as a bedtime story. I wrote them the real life story as a bedtime story. Growing up for me, I learned a lot from the tortoise. Ìtàn Ìjàpá ọlọ́gbọ́n ẹ̀wẹ̀. The way our fathers were able to cover it and carve it shows us that life is not a bed of roses. So they prepare us ahead of what is going to happen. So when it's happening, we always remember, okay, Ijapa and tortoise and the dog. They use all those real things to pass wisdom across to us. And they expose us to the proverbs and the adages and the sayings of the elders, even on time. Not exposing my children to one cartoon where they will be watching homosexuality and pornography without me knowing because they painted it in 3D or 2D. Not some Cinderella stories or some fake story of some prince who is not existing, creating utopia for them. So while I torment my children with a fake story and lie in their real life, they even go to their dream and begin to dream of the life that is never in existence. So when I leave them alone, when they are alone, they see that life is different from what I've told them, and they fidget, and someone take advantage of them, and their life is messed up before I got to know it. Not on my life, it's not happening. So intentional parenting is beyond, okay, you are providing for your children and all that. Intentional parenting goes beyond that. It has to do with building a strong legacy by making sure that these children learn everything from you first. It's a shame on you if your children are taking one man, one pastor, one babalawo, one imam as their role model. So some parents are very proud of themselves that even my children, when I talk to them, they tell me to wait. They need to talk to their father in the Lord first before they make decision. Shame on all of you together. Who should be the priest and the spiritual leader and the perfect mentor for your home? But what do we have today? Some of the men, when they close from work, they even branch in a beer parlor. So they get home drunk. They leave home before the children wake up. They come home after the children have slept. How do you get involved in your children's life? And this mentality of Africans that think that parenting is only left for the women is wrong. That is in the days where women are still responsible. Some women are not responsible these days. They want to do what a man can do. So they smoke, they drink, they go for club and party. They leave the children for the house help and their mothers. We're going to be talking about that under indirect parenting. But today I'm saying you must put yourself in the shoe of these children. How frustrating will it be that you don't know the right word to use in passing your feeling across, and no one is helping you to divulge or troubleshoot this thing? So I'm going to tell you a little story about myself and my elder sister, my very good friend. Our father was very strict man. Mr. Ayilara was the strictest man I've ever come across. He was strict to the point of being a brutal person and cruel person. So when I grew up, I realized that that phase of his life, he wasn't having a job. So instead of him to talk to us about this thing, he used the aggression of not having a job to train us. So every little mistake we make, Lomegbawa, everything, Lomegbawa, go and bring cane, go and bring cane. So we were beaten with the rod, we were beaten with sticks, we were beaten with pankere, I don't know how to call that. We were beaten with bamboo, we were beaten with wire, electric wire, we were beaten with everything. There was a time I lost a slippers, a very pink slippers like this. And my father got to know. He was beating me. I couldn't take it anymore. So I ran out. And he ate when he's beating you and you run out. And he followed me. When he catch me, took me in, he locked the door. And my father beat me to the point of he left his belt and left his cane. He was punching me. He punched me. He threw me around and it was messy. It was messy. If I was living abroad, they would have taken me away from him. But that's the limitation of his own parenting style. He doesn't know more than that. So at a point in time when I was age 8 and my elder sister was age 12, we went to my mother one day and we asked, "Are you sure this man is our father?" And she was so sad. I look exactly like my father. The only thing is that my father is very fair in complexion. I took after my mother's complexion. So we were hoping this thing is going to be between our mother and us because she's our greatest ally. We are so close. She gives us atmosphere of liberty and freedom. So we sometimes look at it, parent, look at it sometimes. We pray, my elder sister and I, we pray together while we were in the room that our father should go and never return. Let them just bring the news home that he has died, he go through, is involved in accident, or he just missed road or they kidnap him. We are always praying constantly that the man should just die a miserable death. It was rigorous. It was too much for us. We were children. And this man, the brutality is too much. They don't beat themselves. My parents, they don't beat themselves. But the aggression, my father was putting it on us, it was too much. So we wish that he would just die or sleep and not wake up. So we went to my mother and we spoke to her. And she was so sad when my father came. We were in the room when my mother was telling my father that, "Can you see, Chora Yellow Day? Your children came to me to ask me if you are their father. I told you to take it easy on them." And right there, we knew that we are done for. It was a total betrayal of trust. And we were asking ourselves, shall I suffer mommy because of daddy? We didn't tell. See, sometimes you must be able to also keep secret between you and your children. So we were asking ourselves, but when we confided in our mother, we didn't ask our mother to tell our father. We know we are dead. But fortunately, he didn't take it the way we thought he was going to take it. So that day he took us. The very first time I was age 8, the very first time I saw that my father put me on his lap, I was fidgeting. I was scared. My father's lap? You don't sit on his chair. You don't drink with his cup. You don't even mess around with him. He rarely even talked to you. My home was a sign language home. So you could come as a guest to us, and all of a sudden you see that I give my father water, and you are asking him, when did you ask for the water? He will tell you, don't worry. We know the rhythm of his leg. We know the way he does his eyes. We know the way he moves his shoulder. We know the meaning of all of these things. Even though he thought that he was trying to train us and bring us up, but the whole thing was too much for us as children. So he really talked. He just used sign language, and we know that, okay, this is what he wants, this, that, and all that. It was too much. So when he brought me on his leg, brought my father on his leg also, and said, "I'm your father, Emma Binu." He didn't say Emma Binu self. I'm trying to. He just said, "I'm your father, okay? That is it." And we ran into the room. So several times, I'm giving you a real life story. I'm not lying. My sister and I, we often feel so sad. So several times, my sister and I will plan. We want to abscond. We want to leave home. Several times, we will pack our load when they are not around. We want to leave home. We have our plans made up. But we couldn't pull it through because we were thinking, how are we going to feed? I was 8. She was 12. I was preteen. She was just in the new teen. She was just a teenager. And we're going through all this. We are not feeling fine. We eat everything in the world, even though it's not so nourishing, but we are always very lean. No peace of mind. As children, we were feeling depressed. So one day I was in the kitchen with my mother. We were making food. And my mother was calling my sister. She wasn't answering. So I said, let me go check her in the front of the house. When I got to the front of the house, I saw my sister. She was foaming in the mouth. And I ran to my mother and said, my sister is pretending she's foaming in the mouth. And we rushed to the place. And that's the first time I saw, okay, somebody can take poison. My sister took Gamalin 20. She was tired of life because of my father's presence at home. The man was a terror, total terror. No means of communication. No matter how much you try to pass your grievance across, no matter how he was so insensitive. He was so insensitive. So they took us to the hospital, they revived her, and that day my father came crying and all that and all that. So they asked my sister what happened. And with tears in her face, she said, I'm tired of life. I'm scared of my father. And something is constantly telling me to kill myself. So I used the gamalin in the store that we used to kill rats and drink it because my friend told me that gamalin could kill someone faster. See what I went through as a child. The trauma, the trauma that I went through as a child because I was raised by a father who could not communicate. And that was going to be the end of the story. The time of Abacha and all that, my father had to leave because he's a very vocal person like myself also. Though gentle, but very vocal and he's against cheating and all that. So Abacha marked him as one of the people that are going to die and all that. You need to leave the country and all that. So my mother felt that, okay, now I have to step up in the role of the father and the mother. Maybe to why she felt what my father was doing is to cover us and all that. And she started becoming harsh. And it was another betrayal of trust because this was a woman we listened to, we obey. We never tried to hurt. Why? Because she was always considerate. She communicates with us. She's always there for us. And all of a sudden, she wants to step up to be a father. And she changed. So you do a little thing and she spank you. You do a little thing and she throws something at you. And you are wondering, what is wrong? Okay, your husband left you. Is he our cause? Or did we cause it? So because the relationship was between me and my mother and us and our mother, we weren't believing that she's going to be changing like that. So it was a total betrayal. So we had to now retract back from her. She never beat us while our father was around. So she started beating us. So when my mother beat me, I don't cry. Not because it's not painful, but because I was too disappointed that she could beat me. As in, when you are too disappointed that someone could hurt you, that when they hurt you, you are no more crying. So while she's beating me, I'm just wondering that human being can be very dangerous. So you were doing night service before. I couldn't say it right. We so much love her. We are so fond of her. We are so close to her. We so pray together for her to now begin to use cane. So from her own side, she was doing effective communication and perfect parenting because she knows how to talk and express herself. She knows how to show love. And because of that, we express herself to her. And because the father is not at home, she wanted to step up as a father and she started beating. And we didn't grow up to see my mother beat. So we were disappointed. So we begin to keep things to ourselves. So when she's beating and I'm not crying, she'll be locking my shirt and say, okay, Pamio, Omapa, you will kill me today and all. All those emotional blackmail and all that. Until one day she spoke to herself and came to my room and said, what else can I do to make you listen to me? I said, now you are talking. I said, I'm disappointed in the way you started changing. What is wrong? You were not like this before now. We speak like we are friends, but you are breaking this friendship between you and I. You are my mother, right? But the friendship is breaking. Talk to me when you want to say something. And when you are talking, don't shout at me. Don't nag at me. When you shout at me, I don't like it. I hate it with all passion. And she started thinking, okay, this is what he doesn't like. That is when we struck the friendship bargain. How much of you are ready to strike that friendship again? She was wise enough to understand on time that she was just wasting her time trying to beat me, trying to shout at me. Then she began to give wise counsel Now she began to paint stories. Now she began to ask me for advice concerning my own life. Now she began to put me in the spot of being a parent and say, tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n náà ló jẹ́ ìyá, tó jẹ́ pé ọmọ ẹ ló ń ṣe báyìí, báwo ló ṣe máa handle situation yẹn? Let's say you are the mother and your child is doing like this. How will you feel? Talk to me. So because she's putting me in the shoe, in her own shoe, and playing the role of the child at that point, and I know this thing will not all go well, I began to be, sit right. So I began to put my mother feeling into consideration, and I don't want to disappoint her while I'm acting or trying to make decision. How many of us these days can condescend so low and calm down, lower your pride, and ask your children for advice on how to also parent them? Though they will not always give you advice that will not pay them. But while they were talking, you can decipher things. Somebody is raping your child every single day. She's trying to talk to you about it, not with words, but with action. Ask her question. Go into a room, lower your pride, and let her talk to you. Be accessible by your children. Be accessible for them. Be reachable for them. It's not a matter of being at home. Be reachable for them. Somebody is molesting your boy child. Do you know you will never get to know about most of these things even until the children get married or even grow old? Some of them keep it so dear to themselves. Someone you trust so much, a pastor you trust, your own brother that is their uncle that you trust so much, your own house help, sometimes your own father, who is their grandfather, they are molesting your children, and the children cannot figure it out that if I talk to mommy about what our father is doing to me, will she believe me? Because you have shown them that there are some people you will never believe could do wrong. Do you get that point? You have shown your children that some people are so perfect they can never fail. So your pastor will molest your children and they will not be able to come to talk to you about them because you have painted your pastor as a perfect person. So these children felt like a pastor, a perfect person, can go away scot-free with these things. And while they are scorning that person or when they are resenting that person, you are also being resented because you make them vulnerable. You left them at the mercy of outsider. That should not be so. You left them at the mercy of people that are not their parents. You allow other people to take advantage of your children. Some of you are the root cause of the resentment, the bitterness, and the losing of your children of today. You think you have tried your best, but then you keep releasing these children to the wolves that are ready to consume them. I could not count how many women come to talk to me personally on how their parents sent them to a pastor for deliverance. And that pastor is the one who raped them in the church and disvirgined them and impregnated. And these parents never believe and they don't talk about it till today. Do you know how many abortions your children has committed, has performed without your awareness? For the person you trust the most, some of your friends are very close to the family because they want to get across to your children. And for you single mothers, I have something to talk to you about. Sometimes a man is looking for your love because they want to sleep with your daughter. I'm going to say it again. Sometimes a man is showering his love on you because he wants to have sex with your daughter. So he preferred the younger you to the old you. It's a lot to digest. But the fact that this man is stepping in as their stepfather does not mean you should totally trust their father. Even some fathers rape their own children, their biological children, not to talk of stepfathers. So this is my advice to single parents, single mothers. If you know you are going to eventually remarry when these children are little. It will help the children to take this man as their father. It will help this man also to integrate them as his own children. The earlier, the better. So sometimes most of the experiences that our children are sharing on TV now, because they have more platform to talk about it, on the internet now, because they are now social and public figure, they are coming to us parents as surprise. We didn't know about it. And they are not lying about it. And this thing happened between them and someone we trust the most with their lives. So how for you? So parenting is beyond this. And this is not affecting those who are living in Africa or Nigeria or West Africa or South Africa alone. It is all across the globe. Wọ́n bí ẹ they don't even born you well. You put my daughter on your lap. Ó máa rò pé ó ṣẹ́ṣó ìyá ni. Bẹ̀m̀bẹ́ ọ̀nà yídí ò ní jẹ̀yà tó ẹ̀. Wọ́n bí ẹ. I don't care if you are my younger brother. I don't care if you are my pastor in the Lord or you are my spiritual father because I don't even have one. Or you are even my own father. Wọn ò tiẹ̀ bí yàrá ìyá ẹ̀ rẹ̀. Màá mad fún ẹ. Màá crazy fún ẹ pátápátá. Wàá mọ̀ pé mo yàtọ̀. I'm sorry, I don't know how to translate that in English, but I'm actually expressing my anger that if they born you well, if you know your name is your name, put my daughter on your lap. Put my daughter on your lap. Or you say you are now my aunt, or you are like this thing, and you say my son should come and sleep on your bed together with you. You will think you are a witch that is confessing in Nigeria. I will stone you out of my house. I will stone you out of my house. It is illegal. It is not proper. It is not proper. It is not proper. Let your children be your children. Let their children. You are your mother's child. Your child is your own child. Are you getting my point now? Listen to me now. You are your mother's child. Your own child is your own child. I say, oh mommy, come and sleep. So the grandmother will now be saying, oh yeah, for mommy shere. You will know that I'm mad. We will leave pastor. We will leave a great man. I will be great in violently messing your life up. These are your children. They are God's heritage. You will account for them. Not because they are children, but these are human beings that are put under your care. You must ensure that you do everything to shield them from hurt and pain. I was lucky enough not to have been violated by anybody while I was growing up. I wasn't violated by anybody, and I didn't violate anybody. My parents, they are so crazy in their way of training us up that we were living like a prisoners. So when they are going out, they lock us up in the house. You don't even mingle. You don't even mingle. The idea of house help in Ayilara's house, in Ayilara family, house help, they don't born you well. They don't house help. What are we doing? Did the house help us to bring you to the world? Or say go and stay with grandma? Grand what? We will grind everybody together. By their koro eyes like this. Or say go and stay in the hostel or go to boarding school. Boarding what? You'll be bothered all the rest of your life. We go to school from their two naked eye, we come back from school. Because of us, our parents began to have friends in high places. Everywhere we get to, they make friends there. So my parents are like CCTV. You don't do anything wrong. Ayilara's son, do this wrong, they will hear at home. And then we were living a kind of communal life that you are the one who gave birth, but the whole community trained these children. Not this one that they cannot tell you that your child is doing wrong. You say, oh, mommy, only ever share. We have a lot of tatafu in our days. All those mama, their own job is to sit and be watching whose children is doing this and that, and they give report to their parents. They don't born you well that because Yaramota reported you to your mother the other day, you now walk past Yaramota, you didn't greet. Yaramota will go and tell. For not greeting, you will still be beaten by both Yaramota and your mother. So it's better you just behave yourself. So these children are passing messages across. Are you listening to them? Can you listen? Can you listen? And don't say they are children. Children are wise. I respect children's spirituality to the point that when they are even blabbing, I don't take it for granted. And I communicate with them effectively well. I take everything they say serious. And I help them train up their own spirituality to the point that when they dream, I make them understand that dream also have meaning. God is talking to you. And because they are living in that subconscious or consciousness, they are able to harness their spirituality and not lose away from it. We'll be talking about spirituality of our children some other time on this particular intentional parenting. But today I'm saying that how do you even receive the gibberish and the blabbing and the sense and the foolishness of your children? How do you decipher and make sense out of it? Your child wakes up and say, I had a dream, and you tag them a witch or wizard. Something happened and you blame them for it. What kind of a parent are you? Shameless person. Immature parent. Your children goes, they go out and they come back. They bring report and say, no, 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 whatever happened outside, stay outside. I want to know what happened outside, though. If you don't tell me, nobody is sleeping. Every goddamn thing we want to know. That is the essence of dinner time. Some of you don't even create time to eat dinner with your children or your family anymore. They say in dinner time, you don't talk. You don't talk while eating. In our home, that's when we talk. Everything download. Our dinner table is like a USB flash drive. We use that time to download everything. Download every downloadable. You are eating. If the soup, if the pepper enter the wrong place, we will use water to calm it down. Or my mother will carry your head like this and be even though it's just psychology. But everything you must say it. So they give you the best food and they bail the catch first. So if you like, be our family friend, be their own childhood friend, is on dinner table, we laugh you. Your secret is not safe with us on dinner table. But whatever we say in the family remain in the family. And we have been prohibited from using what we hear about people to react to them. We react to them based on what they do to us, not based on what we hear from them. But what we hear from them guide our relationship with them. So the dinner table is where we will know the one that is this and that and all that. Family must talk about things that concerns family. But look at you now, hustling for money. You have 3 jobs, only you. What shall it profit you to have houses in Nigeria, build good cars, have good cars, and then you lose out on your children? What shall it profit you? So they are passing messages across. Be careful, be skillful, be more intentional, and be empathetic enough to listen to them. Your children are talking to you. They used to be very bright before, they are no more bright. That's a message. This guy is very brilliant before, now he's slowing down. That is a message they are passing across to you. She used to be very agile before, now that is a message. Okay, this child is now rolling waist excessively and wanting to, do like this by force. That is a message. They are sleeping excessively now, or they are not having enough sleep. That is a message. He or she used to be interested in watching game with you or going out with you before. Now they don't want to go out with you. That is a message. When you mentioned church before, they are so eager to want to go. Now they don't want to hear anything about church. When your pastor come, they disappear. That is a message. Or before they don't like going to church, now they want to go at all costs. Everything, pastor, this, everything is a brother, this, everything. That is a message. Even sometimes they are not talking to you, but they are talking to you. You will say it's not my business. Your children's business is your business. It is your business. Your children's business are your business. Who is going to take care of them if not you? Who should we ask them from if not you? Every single action and turn they make is a message to you. It's a message to you. So I want you to watch. Be more careful. Be more careful. The other time I was out last week, Friday, and I wore this shirt with a face cap. And where I went to, everybody was looking at me. And they just kept wondering, how can such a young man, I look younger at my age actually, say, how can such a young man, that place I couldn't put my face cap in the front, so I had to put it in the back and all that. How can such a young man who is very hip-hoppy and all that wear a shirt called intentional parenting? And they were asking me, what do you mean intentional parenting? And I started talking to them and they were like, wow, do you have children, biological children? I said, no, but I have so many adopted children and all that. And they were like, why are you so passionate about it? And I said, I learned from a woman who trained me up to be a great person today because she was intentional. If my mother had been lackadaisical and very, very lazy in taking note of everything, I would be a waste today. And I made a vow to myself, I'm not going to be like my father. I'm not going to be like my father. I'm going to be the best. And because of the way I was trained by my father, it propels me to replicate the positive aspect of his own life. Intentional parenting. You listen to these children. I should not be closer to your children than you do. I should not befriend your children more than you do. They should not confide in me with secret than they do to you. I should not even know about the things that concerns them like you do. I was a teenage pastor one time in my life in Redeemed Christian Church of God. And do you know that sometimes parents don't even know when some of these children are menstruating? I'm the one that put them through. So I established what we call parent teacher communication every month, a way of being able to give feedback to the parents every single month. We need to start that forum. We started the forum and it was very effective. Some children are pushed into some school, into some classes by their parents' ambition, wanting the children to fulfill the ambition for them. Children who want to be lawyers are being pushed to science class. So the children need to come to me. We have to pray sometimes. We need to also talk to the parents for the children to find their footing. And the mothers begin to see, the fathers begin to see that they need to listen more. And it was exclusive. Those children, some of them are graduate now, some of them are almost graduated now, but we are still friends to today. When I look at back at the picture we took together and the way they relate with me to today, they still talk to me from university and speak to me about everything they go through today. And I'm wondering that what would life have been if I had taken advantage of these children? Because they were vulnerable, nobody to guide them. They were like lost sheep. These are children coming from good homes, coming from rich and wealthy homes. But because their parents are more concerned about money than them, and if you are in the place of a mentor today, I'm saying always turn back the attention of these children to their parent. You will not always be there for them. And don't forget, if you molest them today, they will come back to haunt you tomorrow. And it will not be as rosy as the 5 minutes you use in messing up their life. And while trying to violate a girl child or a boy child, know that you are not creating one enemy for yourself for the lifetime. You are creating two or more enemies for yourself. Because this child one day is going to tell the love of his life and the love of her life on what you did to them. And then they are both going to hunt you down. Because the best way to reconcile a sexual offended person is to seek for justice. And if they tell their parent also, your enemy increase. If they tell their offspring, your enemy increase. What will it profit you to use 5 minutes enjoyment to destroy your life? You don't know where God is taking you to. You might find yourself in the place of the public and holding high position tomorrow. And those things you did while you think they have no power to speak will come back to you when they find their voice. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and I'm super concerned about your parenting skill and especially how your children are going to turn out well in the nearest future, because I want us to raise children that will be filling up the vacuum of obvious leadership we have all over Africa and all across the globe. We don't want to raise up timid children who cannot ask questions and query things or even think for themselves. We want to raise children who can stand in gap for their nation and their fellow men when they are being cheated. We want to raise children who would take our name to the next level. I want to have daughters who will become the United Nations president, and I want to have sons who will rule the world and also know that even though they are male, women's life are important also. God bless you and see you next time on Intentional Parenting every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time, both on my Facebook channel and also on the YouTube channel. God bless you and see you tomorrow also again on the hot seat, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Grace be with you and take care of yourself and also of your child. Bye for now.